But when WPXI went there, crews found a makeshift wooden door and plywood covering the main entrance. Upon checking closer, those crews realized the front door was unlocked and a reporter was able to walk inside without stopping at any security checkpoint. The company has not been able to be reached for comment on the current status of the facility. Schumann has had a troubled past involving child abuse by employees and poor medical care, prompting a statement from the county executive saying input from behavioral specialists and the public is important to shape future operations. And Kennywood is celebrating the July 4th holiday weekend by extending hours to 10 p.m. every single day, beginning tomorrow through Sunday. Plus, visitors will be dazzled by a fireworks show over the lagoon on July 4th and can expect a robust lineup of brand new entertainment at the park all month long. In honor of the holiday weekend, Kennywood, Idlewild, and Soak Zone, as well as Sandcastle, will honor active duty, retired military members, and veterans with free admission beginning today and running through Sunday. Service members must have valid ID, and they can also purchase up to 4 discounted tickets for family and friends at a reduced rate. Our newscast this hour is being brought to you by the J&J Spratt Funeral Home in New Brighton.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Partly sunny, hot, and humid today, but there will be a bit of a breeze, and we could see wind gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. We'll reach a high of 89. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms will drop down to a low around 72. Mostly cloudy tomorrow for Independence Day. We may see some showers and thunderstorms off and on throughout the day. Look for a high near 85. Mostly cloudy on Friday with a chance of showers and thunderstorms. We'll reach a high near 88, and we could see an early morning rain shower on Saturday. Otherwise, it looks like it'll be a great day with lots of sunshine and a high near 84. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Wednesday, July the 3rd of 2024, at 10 minutes past 9, we've got a temperature of 77 degrees with partly sunny skies in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Now, it's time to talk on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio. 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, and beavercountyradio.com. And now, here is the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
It's a busy Wednesday morning. That's good. Idle hands are the devil's plaything. My grandmother told me that. 10 minutes after 9, it is Teleforum, but it's a special edition of a special show. We do Ask the Commissioners once a month on Thursdays. Regularly scheduled, that would be tomorrow, but if you're a county commissioner, you better show up at parade, so we're doing Ask the Commissioners today. Jack Manning is here. Tony Amadeo is here. Your questions at 724-843-1888, 774-1888. My name's Eddie Crow. You can also post your questions on the live Facebook feed. If you go to our Facebook page, WBVP-WMBA, you'll see Tony and Jack sitting there just aglow with anticipation, waiting for me to ask them stupid stuff, and then they make it sound like it was smart. How you boys doing?
Always good to be with you.
Yes. Beautiful morning.
Beautiful morning.
A day off, but beautiful morning.
Would you rather have a Friday off or a Monday off? I told you I was going to start with something stupid.
Friday, because after 34 years of teaching, payday was always on Friday.
Is that a double win that you got paid and
absolutely.
You didn't have to go deal with the little urchins? Jack, you'd rather have Friday or Monday off? If you get a 3-day weekend, how do you build it?
I don't know. I hardly ever take a day off. I'm a 24/7, 365 person. I'm always busy doing something, so I'm not sure what a day off looks like. I like the Mondays when the holidays fall on a Monday, I guess.
Okay.
But
Is your job?
It doesn't make any difference.
Is your job, Tony? Is your job 24/7, 365?
It is for me.
Absolutely.
Is it?
My whole career has been like that. So, yeah. That's what the people put me in the office for.
But sometimes you like to sit in a room all by yourself with nothing on and just sit there and contemplate your thoughts.
It sounds like a sensory deprivation chamber.
Yes.
Have you ever tried one of those?
No.
Look for the people not watching this, Tony just busted out in the biggest grin. It's just, is that the teacher? Is that what teachers do in the summer?
I've been deprived a lot in my life.
Okay. All right.
I like to just mow my lawn for 4 hours a day. That's my, seriously, you have no idea how many problems I've solved mowing my lawn for 4 hours on my lawn tractor.
It takes 4 hours to mow your lawn? You're doing all right, man.
Yeah, he's a land baron.
3 or 4.
You got hedges or thistles?
I got a few acres that I got to kind of take care of.
You got thistles planted to keep the commoners out?
I'm not a big fan of thistles. But,
okay. So you're not Scottish.
I have the poison ivy to show it, by the way, so mowing the lawn.
Doing all right. Tony, how long does it take to mow your grass? See, I'm avoiding asking the questions I'm going to ask.
Ask his wife that question.
About an hour. About an hour. Yeah, my wife loves cutting grass.
Is that what you told her?
Not so much lately, but in the olden days,
so
she
much
loved
lately.
It. No, she's been slowing down a little bit. She goes for walks now and enjoys that serenity. But like Jack said, especially if you have earphones and you put them on your head and just get on top of your zero turn or push your lawn, whatever you do, however you do it, and just cut the grass.
You guys are living. I got a Briggs & Stratton 3.5 horsepower that I got to kick 3 times on one side and once on the other, and it fires up. So
I got one of those too.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right, I've avoided this as long as I can avoid this. Schumann was supposed to open. It's not supposed to open. We have had talks about the problems. The problems is in terms of bed facilities for juvenile offenders, in terms of staffing. That announcement, assuming that it's open, because now people aren't sure. Let's snap our fingers. There are 12 beds that will become available. Does that help Beaver County?
Well, it doesn't help us directly, but indirectly it helps us by alleviating some of the pressure on the availability of beds in the region. And Tony and I were both in meetings going back over a year or so when the state was coming in saying what Schumann had to do to get their act together to come back, and said that they would allow them and permit them to open 12 beds of the 60 beds that are available, and seeing how they do, and they can staff and perform with those 12 beds, and they'll give them another 12 like a year later, and so on and so forth.
It's like allowance as a kid.
Yeah,
I'll give you a little bit and see how you handle it.
I saw it on the news, and I was happily surprised that they're opening the place up. We can only just wait and see what the availability is going to be to surrounding counties.
Yeah, and they're not the only one. Westmoreland's opened back up. They had a 10-bed facility. They're supposed to be opening back up. Fayette's talking about converting some of their old prison into secure juvenile facility. We'll see what happens there. But it comes back to, and Tony and I have talked about this, we've all talked about this, we've talked about this with the police chiefs. We just met recently with another half a dozen police chiefs. The problem is twofold. One being state regulations and this rubric to decide who can be detained and who can't be detained, and the amount of time you have to do that, and then the staffing to open these places, and the requirements for the staffing, which is set by the state, are really so onerous that there aren't enough availability of staff to do it. That's how Westmoreland got in trouble. That's how Schumann got in trouble. That's how George Jr., another facility in Mercer, can't operate at full capacity because they can't hire enough staff that's required per bed.
And the regulations are ever changing.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Once you get your building set up and your workers employed, and the next day or the next week they can change the regs, change the rules, and that's every time they make a change, it's a cost to the counties, big cost.
Why did Hillcrest close?
Allencrest.
Sorry, that wasn't the one I'd have gone to as a kid.
It predates me, but Tony can probably address that better. It was costing millions of years millions of dollars a year to run this thing, and
it was $2 million. $2 million, I think maybe $2.1 million a year to run, but that wasn't the problem. The problem was the age of the building. It was built in 1957 or 1958. And when I first got elected, you get the tour of it. I toured the jail. I toured Allencrest. And the jail was relatively new. It was, I didn't feel badly when I was going through there. But when I went through Allencrest and I saw the conditions that were there, as a former teacher, as you know, I'm going to say that.
Right.
I was concerned. But the costs.
Cool Hand Luke stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I toured it after it closed when I was with the chamber because they were trying to sell a facility and came and looked at it. I go, whoa.
Yeah.
But I will say this for that, and I don't want to be old school, and I don't want to dismiss the rehabilitation and making sure that kids are getting schooling, counseling, and all those kinds of things when they are housed in a secure facility. But what we need more than anything else is not a focus on rehabilitation and all that stuff. We need a focus on deterrence. And in talking to the police chiefs and talking to people who've been here a long time, so many of them tell me, even current employees in the courthouse said, oh yeah, my parents said, do you want to go to Allencrest? Yeah. You got your act together. I mean, just the thought of being housed there for a week or 10 days was enough of a deterrent that it got kids right on the right path again. And I don't want to minimize, again, the emphasis on making sure kids are getting the right psychological counseling and schooling and all that kind of stuff, but we need a deterrent. We need a deterrent. And right now there is none because without the beds, they're being released with ankle monitors at best.
It's catch and release. And that's it. If they can't find a placement within 6 hours, they have to let you go. And the juveniles know that.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. No, and they're flaunting it to the police. They're flaunting it to the neighborhoods, and there's still some of them are still terrorizing some of these communities, particularly what Allegheny County and Pittsburgh are dealing with right now.
You mentioned a word, and I don't know what it means, so I'm going to ask you. The rubric of trying to get people hired. We just saw in Pittsburgh there were officer candidates that washed out because the psychological test went bad, and now come on back. We'll see if you've got your psychological togetherness worked up.
Well, there's a hiring standard, and it's like a 4-year degree psychology background in addition to criminal justice and all of the special juvenile justice, protocols and stuff, where you have to be certified by the state to work there. The rubric involves the police in any municipality that catch a juvenile stealing a car with a gun, without a gun, what was the nature of the crime. There's this little rubric that you have to go through if you're sitting in the police station and you're in juvenile services at the county to say, it scores at this level, and when it scores at that level, that means, yes, you can send them to a secure facility. Then you have to call around and find where there's a secure facility and whether they will accept that child.
And then the clock's ticking.
Then they go. In the meantime, the clock's ticking. And once you can't find a
how is Grand Theft Auto not the one box that needs to be checked?
I don't understand it. We actually had a prison board meeting last week. We'd like to meet with our state legislator, our representatives and senators, and just say, you guys are part of the answer and the solution to this. It just isn't us trying to build a facility, because even if you build a facility, are you going to be able to staff it, and then are you going to be able to maintain it afterwards? And as Tony said, these changing regulations, who knows? Who knows?
And the beginning of all this was when the state started closing down the mental hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything just ricocheted down, and it's became a serious problem. Where do you think these patients are now?
In jail.
They're in jail.
Or not
under
in
a bridge
jail.
somewhere.
Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, a good portion of our inmates at the county jail have clearly codependency issues, mental health, substance abuse disorder issues. And, there's only so much you can do as a jail or a prison. to be able to accommodate those. We do have some great partners and collaborators who we can hand off some of these folks to if they'll follow through with it. But I mean, we all know that it's very difficult.
The state knows the problem that we have, or I should say the Commonwealth knows the problem but they're not addressing it. I mean, they got a big surplus.
Why are they not addressing it? We've got
no clue.
We've got $1 billion sitting there with the clock's ticking on that.
15 billion. Yeah.
Billions.
Yeah. Is this too hard a problem for people to fix by yelling?
No.
Is that part of the issue? Well, how would you fix it?
You got to sit down with the stakeholders and sit down and discuss what you need and how to accomplish that need.
Are kids worse than they used to be? You taught them for a lot of years. Are kids worse than they used to be?
I haven't been in the classroom in 17 years.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to make that judgment. And it's a different scenario in school. I mean, you have little problems. Where I taught, we didn't have any serious big problems. We had kids with issues, and we dealt with the issues. We went to the appropriate authorities and handled the issues that we had. Most of those issues were domestic, family-related issues at my school and my level. We didn't have any serious crime issues there.
I think that the big fundamental difference, I mean, I still want to believe that there isn't a huge difference in the amount of crime or juvenile issues back in the 60s, 70s, 80s than there are now. But the big difference is social media, that a lot of what they're getting into is exacerbated by TikTok and different things becoming...
How so? They want to be famous?
The whole stealing cars thing started really with some TikTok things and some challenges and different games that they thought were games that they were playing to get some notoriety. And that's something that obviously is new from our day.
And before social media, you sat down at a kitchen table at 4:30 or 5 o'clock with your family, and you talked about your day. And if you did something wrong, your father probably knew before he came home from work, and they dealt with it. Today, it's people. I don't want to say it. Family life is like a restaurant now. Everybody eats at different times. Everybody goes different places to eat. It's not like when I was raised and you were raised and Jack was raised, where we sat down with the family and you had to be there. I don't care what you had, unless it was a school issue.
Sports practice, special
issues,
dispensation for baseball practice.
No question.
Yeah.
I mean, my biggest deterrent was I never wanted to come home and disappoint my dad. I never wanted to have to face him and say, Dad, I crossed the line. I walked up to a lot of lines, but I didn't want to cross it because I knew it would come back, and I just didn't want to disappoint him, and that was my deterrent. But I mean, everybody's situation is different.
Jack Manning and Tony Amadeo are with me, Beaver County Commissioners, because it's Ask the Commissioners. This is being live Facebook feeded. Is it feeded or fed, Mr. Teacher? Is it fed?
Fed.
I bet every time I say that, you just twitch, don't you? More after news. The live Facebook feed will continue.
Everyone at Moon Township Ford is looking forward to the Beaver County Boom Saturday, June 29th. Moon Township Ford is the presenting sponsor of this exciting event broadcast, and just like the explosion of colors you'll be seeing, Moon Township Ford is exploding with special financing and financing just in time for all your summer activities. They know that for families who like to travel and vacation, the Ford F-150 truck is the vehicle for you. No matter where your summer vacation takes you, you can be sure that a Ford F-150 from Moon Township Ford will make your adventure much more fun. No wonder that it's the most popular vehicle sold in the U.S. Ford's F-150 is the quintessential American truck to celebrate all of the summer holidays. Get going now to Moon Township Ford showroom on University Boulevard across from Robert Morris, where they're celebrating summer savings and proudly presenting the Beaver County Boom broadcast on Beaver County Radio.
Delconi's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
The summer's biggest furniture sale is at AK Nahhouse. This 4th of July, relax in style and comfort with up to 20% off FlexSteel furniture. With FlexSteel leather power reclined sofas starting at $13.99. Get the ultimate sleep recliner, Z-Cliner by FlexSteel with triple power and zero gravity, just $13.49. Save up to 20% off at Western Pennsylvania's largest FlexSteel gallery, along with 12-month special financing and free delivery. The 4th of July sale only at AK Nahhouse Appliance, Furniture, Mattress, and TV. You'll do okay with AK. It's that time of the year, the good old summertime. So while you're cruising around, don't forget to stop by the Hopewell Shopping Center for fun, good food, and all the things you'll need to make summer even better. At the Hopewell Shopping Center, you can do it all in one place. Dining in quick service restaurants, personal services, recreation, and just about everything you need without running here and there while you waste gas and time. So this summer, cruise on over to your neighborhood shopping place, the Hopewell Shopping Center.
There's exciting news. A new pharmacy in New Brighton just opened, Forward RX. It's an independent community pharmacy that fills prescriptions at transparent cost-plus pricing on many generic medications. No insurance or discount coupons needed. Brandon Anthonopoulos will discuss your needs and how Forward RX can help you save money. The pharmacy experience you deserve is more affordable than you think. Become a Forward member today. Stop in 809 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check their prices at FWDRX.com.
Rev up your engines. It's time to celebrate summer in a GNU way. GNU's Bodyworks has everything it takes to make you the star of the show at this year's car cruises. It's time to restore that old ride to its former glory. Call on Gary Snare and his team at GNU's Bodyworks with over 20 years of experience. Gary cares about your car almost as much as you do. He can get your motorcycle ready for the road too. GNU's, specializing in class restoration, happy days are here again. Call GNU's Bodyworks on 8th Street in Freedom.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Curtis Walsh.
Good morning on this Wednesday, July the 3rd of 2024. We can expect partly sunny skies today with some rain showers and possible thunderstorms rolling in overnight. We'll have a high of 92 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. A lockdown was in place yesterday in Cranberry Township. According to a Facebook post made by the Cranberry Police around 1 p.m., the police department was searching for a suspicious person wearing a Washington football shirt and or hat. The township requested all residents shelter in place and lock their doors. The police department had a presence in the area of Glen Eden, Freshcorn, Powell, and Unionville roads. Cranberry Highlands Golf Course and the Cranberry Township Water Park both closed operations and sent guests home. Reports indicate the incident started over the fact that a man who was acting strangely had numerous weapons in a vehicle near the golf course, and some notes were found as well. Police ultimately found the man deceased after an hours-long search. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reports that Heritage Valley Health System will pay the federal government just under $1 million to settle potential patient privacy violations following a ransomware attack in 2017. In addition, Heritage Valley agreed to implement a corrective action plan and 3 years of compliance monitoring. An Aliquippa man was jailed on 2 warrants. DeMar Freeman turned himself into the district justice's office Monday. He was wanted on charges filed by the Aliquippa police on June 22nd. The press release issued stated he's no longer a threat to the public. He was involved in a disturbance in the 300 block of Linmar Terrace and had been on the run before turning himself in. Freeman is lodged in the Beaver County Jail with a bond set at $250,000. Midland police say vandalism in front of the Midland Gymnasium is now removed, and they have learned the identities of the individuals involved. Police thank the Midland Borough School for quickly providing photos and videos and for the public's help in identifying the subjects. The WPIAL announced 6 players that achieved all-state recognition as chosen by the Pennsylvania State Baseball Coaches Association. 3 of those players coming from Beaver County. First team in Class 3A included Riverside's Zach Hare and Hunter Garvin, and first team selection in 2A included New Brighton's Brock Budacki. Officials announced Pittsburgh's former Schumann Juvenile Detention Center, which had been closed since late 2021, would be reopening Tuesday. It was set to have a 12-bed pod at first, and the facility's operator, Adolphi, announced that it would be open. But when Channel 11 News arrived there yesterday, crews found a makeshift wooden door and plywood covering the main entrance. Upon checking closer, the crews realized that the front door was unlocked and a reporter was able to walk inside without stopping at any security checkpoint. The company could not be reached for a comment. Schumann has had a troubled past involving child abuse by employees and poor medical care, prompting a statement from the county executive saying input from behavioral specialists and the public is important to shape future operations in Allegheny County. And the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Pittsburgh District has scheduled July 10th as the first controlled demolition date to remove the Fixed Crest Dam on the Monongahela River near Elizabeth. Removing the dam is part of the Lower Monongahela River project. Once complete, the project is expected to bring an economic benefit of $200 million annually, including cost time savings in transporting commodities through the region. The U.S. Coast Guard will restrict river traffic beginning at 9 a.m. and has set the restriction zone at 1,500 feet up and downstream of the dam. A security perimeter will also restrict road and pedestrian traffic from entering a 500-foot radius zone surrounding the demolition site. The district will begin removing the lock walls in 2025, and work is expected to last until 2027.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Partly sunny, hot, and humid today, but there will be a bit of a breeze, and we could see wind gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. We'll reach a high of 89. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms will drop down to a low around 72. Mostly cloudy tomorrow for Independence Day. We may see some showers and thunderstorms off and on throughout the day. Look for a high near 85. Mostly cloudy on Friday with a chance of showers and thunderstorms. We'll reach a high near 88, and we could see an early morning rain shower on Saturday. Otherwise, it looks like it'll be a great day with lots of sunshine and a high near 84. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Wednesday, July the 3rd of 2024, at 35 minutes after 9, we've got a temperature of 79 degrees with partly sunny skies in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Talk about what's happening in Beaver County or around the world on Teleforum. 724-843-1888. 724-774-1888. It's Teleforum with Eddie Crow.
Well, sort of. It's Teleforum, but because of the holiday tomorrow, today is Ask the Commissioners. Tony Amadeo is in the studio with me. Jack Manning is in the studio with me. This is being live Facebook fed. WBVP-WNBA is our Facebook page. And if you've got quite, and of course, somebody was calling, didn't get to it in time. Story came out, I guess it's been a couple of weeks ago, and Jack, I saw you, I think you got quoted. Somebody asked you about it, and I haven't seen anything or heard anything since. And Tony, I want your thoughts on this. Is there any reason I shouldn't be livid with the story about the Beaver County Housing Authority and the trips and all of that? Because the first story, and you know this, if it's an investigative reporter, the first story is going to get your attention. What has happened since then with all those trips, and who's in charge of the checkbook? I've got a lot of questions, but I want to make sure I'm up to speed. What more do you know than I know?
Probably not a whole lot more. There was a narrative that clearly wanted to be played. Mm-hmm. And there clearly was someone who was disgruntled with the housing authority that wanted to make sure that narrative was displayed. Is that where that started? I'm assuming that was it. The only thing I know more than before, I talked to WPXI about this, was that a lot of those trips were paid for by organizations inviting Kathy Walter,
the director,
the executive director, to those. and things aren't always what they seem to be. And what wasn't on air was the fact that I praised Kathy and the great job she's done and her 45 years of dedicated service.
You were a victim of selective editing, were you?
You speak to somebody for 12 minutes and 18 seconds shows up on the air. And again, they're going to display the narrative that they want they want to have come across, which I know going into when I answer those calls, and I usually answer most calls from the media and the press, regardless of who they are. But she's done an excellent job, and she's worked very collaboratively with us and the continuum of care on housing issues. And she's always been accessible and done a great job for us. I think the only thing, from our standpoint is to make sure that any county funds that went there were used appropriately. And to the best of our knowledge and ability, they were, and they've done a great job for us. What I still don't quite understand is board members accompanying on that. But again, I don't know the details. I don't run the organization. We have no direct oversight over their budget, their operations. It's all HUD funded, so I've deferred most people to ask HUD. As far as I know, nothing was done illegally, but you could question maybe, is that the best fiduciary responsible way a board member should conduct it? But I don't know firsthand, so that's what I know.
Why is there not local oversight?
It's not a county.
It's HUD.
It's just straight up. It's HUD.
It's all federal money. It's all HUD money.
Even though it's the Beaver County.
And one thing I can tell you, don't mess around with HUD because you pay back double. You pay back double, and that's a fact.
Yeah, if you misuse their funds.
You pay back double.
The funds that were misused are gone, and then they want it back.
One of the things I learned early on in 17 years is sometimes less said, best said until you get all the facts.
Mm-hmm.
And when Kathy
that's not the world we live in.
When Kathy wasn't answering questions, I knew something was wrong.
Okay.
And then I come to learn that their solicitor had passed away, and they're in process of getting a new solicitor. And I don't blame her. I wouldn't answer the questions until.
What does a solicitor do?
Protect you. The solicitor protects your organization.
That's the spokesperson. That would be the spokesperson.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we found out after the fact.
Why didn't she tell the media that when the media was asking her?
I don't know.
It's possible they did. It's also possible they did.
We don't have oversight.
Yeah.
We just had a good reputation with her, good relationship with her. Mm-hmm. So until I got the information, I still don't have all the information, but I'm sure it's forthcoming.
Where is it in the process of information? You said go to HUD. Has anybody been in contact or tried?
HUD referred it back to the authority.
Yeah, it's like the Supreme Court.
Right.
Pretty much.
They're the ones in. So what's the next step? Don't trust the media because, Jack, you're exactly right.
I'm sure
you're going to
get. The next step is going to be after they have a meeting.
Okay.
When they sit down and discuss it. And I'm sure something is going to come out. Because I think there was requests for information.
Right.
Yeah.
So
FOIA request.
Yeah. So I'm sure once
they'll have to respond.
Once they get a solicitor, I think that's going to be forthcoming.
Yeah.
How often does this happen? That one side of the story comes out?
Quite often.
Like every day. I don't know.
Quite often.
Can you?
And this isn't the first time.
Can you unring the bell?
What?
Can you unring that bell?
Well, not for as much media attention. When they have 2 or 3 reports on that. I mean, I was 18 seconds of that, but there were 2 or 3 reports, constant chatter. I'm sure you guys got a ton of calls, and the phones were blowing up. I got a few emails. I got one anonymous letter telling me all this stuff. I mean, I don't think anything different fundamentally is happening there that hasn't been going on for decades.
The Housing Authority is doing so much good for the county. I mean, we've been involved with them over a project in Beaver Falls. We're trying to renovate and rebuild and do a section of Beaver Falls through the Housing Authority up at Mount Washington. So that's been our latest contact with them, and they're always on task. They research. She comes back with the answers. I'm pretty happy with our dealings with the Housing Authority. I really am.
No, and that's why I said, and I told the reporter that there were several different municipalities that were working on housing projects. Mount Washington, Linn-Mar, different ones all over. They're a big part of the affordable housing issue that we have in there, and they're providing stuff. And that's why I said Kathy's always been competent, very knowledgeable, very accessible. I've never had any personal issue with her. I think she's done a great job. And they've collaborated with ERAP, different programs that we've had. And as far as I know, there's been no abuse of funds. There's been no abuse of her position. And she has worked 45 years there and has a great reputation nationally. That's why I think she's in demand at some of these conferences to speak about the different things that they've done, some innovative things they've done, and the approach that they're doing to help with the housing issues.
Which is a bigger pain in the neck, the public or when the media shows up? It can be a pain in the neck.
It's part of the job. Yeah, we deal with it every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't shy away from it, either with the public or the media. I feel I have a responsibility. That's what people elected me for, to speak. But I like to know what I'm talking about and dealing with.
And see, just become a talk host. You don't need to know what you're talking about. It's a lot less paperwork in it.
Didn't you offer that to us last time?
Every time you show up.
You want to stay?
Tony Amadeo showed up. Jack Manning showed up. It's Ask the Commissioners, 724-843-1888 or 774-1888. You got your finger up, Tony.
I'd just like to say a little bit about Boom. I mean,
okay.
I hope the citizens of Beaver County and the surrounding areas really enjoyed our Boom presentation that was done this year. When I heard the amount of money that was spent on the fireworks and how it was raised, it was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And whether you were at one end of the bridge, the other end of the bridge, in the middle of the bridge, whether you were at the headquarters, whether you were at the river itself, what a phenomenal draw for Beaver County to bring people in. And I want to thank the people that were involved, or Tony Caltori, and the work the logistics that went involved with that. I mean, we were at Mario's, and we had the opportunity, if we wanted to get on a golf cart and be shuttled there back and forth, as well as the people in our building, to go see the various concerts that were going on. And these were top name concerts. You had a concert going on in Rochester Borough. You had, like I said, the three parts of the bridge. And we had a band playing at Mario's. I mean, what entertainment. People say there's nothing to do. In the old days, used to say there's nothing to do in Beaver County. Well, that's changed.
Do you think people understand that that's a big deal? That we've got a wider confluence than downtown Pittsburgh. Dr. Zambelli, we were shooting bigger shells than is allowed in Pittsburgh.
I'm telling you, that fireworks rivals anything you'll see on the East Coast and maybe nationally. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was absolutely phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it. Just the finale alone. The 1 minute's worth of stuff was amazing, unbelievable. And the innovation, the types of fireworks and different stuff that they've done, it was bigger than better than ever. But this has been a long time coming. And I really give the Push Beaver County folks a lot of credit.
The Copsack boys.
Not only did they collaborate for the first time in a long time. When I was on Downtown Consulting, it was like, why do you have your community day in Monaca on a different day than Boom? Why aren't you taking advantage of the Rochester Bridgewater? Why aren't you opening? And they finally, it all came together. Tony Caltori from tourism and the tourism group was a big part of that collaborative effort and making sure everybody was on the same page. But all the events there, all the people that came, both sides of the river, and the confluence, it really was phenomenal. I'm extremely, extremely proud of that collaborative nonprofit profit, and let's face it, St. Barnabas, Shop and Save, the different sponsors. It doesn't happen without all of them. DJ Fry, all the people that poured money, the right promise. All these folks poured a lot of money and effort and volunteerism into making this thing happen.
And that came from a single meeting, 10 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
I was chairman of the board. The Klopsat brothers came to. They reminded me at the.
Were they riding mopeds then?
No,
that came later.
They had the mopeds. They just didn't have the business.
They came to me and they presented this concept that they wanted to do in Beaver County, and they went on and on and on. I put my hands up. I said, "Stop, I'm in." And they reminded me of that, and that was a very small part. And as Jack alluded to, what it is today, it's just incredible. Everybody's bought in.
Yeah. And I would suspect, matter of fact, I know next year will be even bigger and better. May even be a couple of day event. May have a lot more river activities. There's a whole lot of great ideas that are out there that are starting to come to fruition. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Is it a day like that makes the days of hassles worth it? Is that the reminder of, my job is important and I like it?
Yeah, I mean, clearly. And I think you know how much I emphasize parks, recreation, quality of life events. I mean, these things are so important to attracting and retaining people and drawing people into the area. So any of those things, this is clearly the biggest and the best and the most prominent one, but it's not the only thing. I mean, I find a lot of things rewarding about what I do, but that was one that was very gratifying.
This is the best place to live, and especially raise a family.
Did you always believe that, or did it take you living here to learn that?
I've always believed that. Mm-hmm. Maybe because I was here my whole life. The only time I left Beaver County is when I went to college, 4 years, and when I came back, I've always been here. And I've always moved within 2 miles of the school, so I moved in a big circle.
Well, we've got both sides of it. You've been here, Tony Amadeo, his whole life. Jack Manning did a lot of work in the industrial sector. Could have settled anywhere.
Yeah, I could have chosen any place. I chose Beaver County because it did remind me of where I grew up, the small town community atmosphere. I did the reverse. My family all moved here and followed us. And now this is home, right? Both my boys, my daughter-in-laws, my grandchildren, they're all here now. That's why this is home. That's why I think it's a great place.
Was that a pitch that you made to your kids, or did your kids visit and say, you know what, this is kind of cool up here?
Yeah. Well, my older son moved up from Virginia and fell in love and married a girl from Beaver Falls. So that was the first one. Yeah. The son that was in Hawaii, it took a while, but when he had a son, my grandson, he wanted to raise it with family. This is where family was. He was familiar enough, having visited with us and growing up, being born in New Jersey and then living in Virginia. He moved here and after Hawaii, and they're all here now. So it's a good time.
Ask the commissioners, what should I have asked you that I didn't ask you today? Talked about Schumann and talked about the housing authority.
The only thing, there's really a part two to that Schumann juvenile bed.
What's the part two?
And that's a holistic view of deterrence with working with children and stuff. We had an event at the YMCA last Sunday. I didn't do this as a commissioner. I did it as a concerned citizen working with Aliquippa Impact, the Center at Midland, the Dove Project in Beaver Falls, the Youth Ambassador Group at our schools. And we have 58 kids at the YMCA Sunday evening to swim, play basketball, play dodgeball, do some stuff. These are kids at risk. The kids we're trying to not have to find detention beds for.
The fork in the road
right,
time.
And I'd love to be able to do that, because as much as we have all these great activities, the triathlons, the boom, and that kind of stuff, we still need to find outlets for more kids to get together other than just Friday night football across communities and stuff. And it's a mission that I'm on, to really take a holistic preventive process to prevent the need for more beds by getting these kids some good counseling, mentoring, and the like.
You have to keep teens and preteens busy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do that, they have a tendency to find ways to keep themselves busy.
Yeah, these were middle schoolers. You bring in some pizza, you open up the Y. Mike Herrick at the YMCA, I can't say enough about him being so gracious to open that up for us and have these 58 middle school kids running around. So we need more of that is what I'm saying. And I greatly appreciate the work that Aliquippa Impact, Center at Midland, the Dove Project in Beaver Falls, the Youth Ambassador Group, Susan Smith, and all those folks are doing. It's important stuff so that we don't have to have these conversations about why do we need more detention. I mean, I know we need the beds, we need that deterrent, but we need to look at this holistically and not just from a criminal justice standpoint. So that's it. I'm sorry.
Gentlemen, as always, thank you. You'll be at the parades, I'm sure, tomorrow.
I will
Like
be
this,
there.
I'll be like this.
You got the Queen wave thing?
Yeah.
That's a good Queen wave. It's
I'll be tossing candy.
it's Jack Manning.
That's what this hand's for, because this
The candy toss hand. Oh, you're okay.
Unlike Jack, I'll be driving.
the parade, and we're there too.
Well, I'm hoping to have one of my sons drive, and my grandson, he's gotten the parade bug. He was at the Conway Memorial Day Parade, which I spoke at. Waving a flag out the window the whole length of the thing. The Ambridge Parade, the same thing. He's into the parades now. The 4-year-old is into the parades.
You need an awful lot of candy, let me tell you.
All right.
Tell me about it.
When you're at the parade, when Jack's grandson waves, you wave back.
Please.
It's as the commissioners, Jack Manning and Tony Amadeo. Thank you both, gentlemen. Have a wonderful, safe 4th. Next time I see you, you'll all have all your fingers, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Tis the season.
When accidents and injuries happen, you need the experience and insight of the legal